A soulful slice of modern Americana. You're watching Encore, and that's what's coming up on this week's music show. Intimate yet powerful Sun Little blends soul, blues and rock and roll, paying tribute to the sounds of yesteryear while serving up something very fresh. The singer-songwriter is currently on tour in France to promote his second album, New Magic. Sun Little, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks a lot.
Your new album, New Magic, touches on several different styles: soul, blues, rock and roll, gospel. But what's the common thread?
I think it is that it's heartfelt music. You know, it's it's about songwriting and just emotion. You know.
Lots of emotion indeed. It sounds like you're tipping your hat to the sounds of yesteryear, yet creating music that's very current, very now. How do you manage that? Is there and I hate to say the word, is there a formula?
Well, I think a lot of the music at least the music that I've always loved growing up, the older music, it always comes from a combination of different things, and that's how you get new sounds. You know, you get rock and roll from a combination of blues and country. You know, you get hip hop from a combination of R&B and reggae. You know, so I think that's probably another thread, is just the fact that you combine things, you end up with something new. So it has sounds that you are familiar, but it's also new. You know.
Well, let's listen to a track off the album New Magic. This is Oh Me, Oh My.
Make you stay, you wanna run and make up a new start. Feels like everywhere you go, around the globe, another tear away. Yeah, no matter what you change, all the pain and everything stays the same. Oh my, oh me, oh my, oh me, oh my.
Oh me, oh my. I was bobbing my head there off air. It's very, very catchy. You wrote some of the album while you were on tour in Australia. You borrowed the guitar of one of the country's most loved Indigenous musicians, Gurrumul Yunupingu, also known as Dr. G, who's sadly no longer with us. Tell us a little bit more about that story and how that came about.
You know, I went to Australia thinking I was finished with the writing of these songs, and you know, I guess you never quite know. You know, it's almost like an album it's not about when you finish, it's when the album is finished with you. So when I got there, I saw, you know, I went to the Northern Territory where a lot of the Indigenous people live, and you know, found it so different from anything I'd ever experienced, and different from everything else I had seen in Australia so far. I saw giant bats and crocodiles.
Yeah, and crocodiles.
Yeah.
I read that you were a little bit intimidated by some of our native wildlife.
You could say that. You could say that. And
I understand that from non-Australians' perspective.
Right.
I understand.
And I was warned beforehand, so you know. But the bats especially, I had a problem with. But yeah, so I thought it was a good time to stay inside, you know, and reflect.
Hole up in the studio or hole up in a hotel room and just write some songs.
Yeah, exactly. It just you know, kind of came together, and I think, you know, Dr. G's guitar, which was actually just like this one. I mean, the same model anyway. It really had a feeling and energy in it. You know, a lot of times a guitar player will say that the guitar has songs in it. And that was kind of the feeling I had, really, just the first time I picked it up. And I sat down and wrote 5 songs in just a few hours, which, if you don't write songs, normally that doesn't happen, not to me anyway. So
you spent a very productive few hours with Dr. G's guitar.
I did, and you know, I think that's kind of where the spark of the idea of calling it New Magic came from. Was just, there was no way to really explain the creative process that occurred, you know.
Well, the Northern Territory, in particular the Outback, is a very spiritual, magical place, you'd even say. Did your time there bring you closer to the Aboriginal people and perhaps their connection to music in any way?
I think that was a big part of my mindset as I traveled there. I talked to a lot of Indigenous people as I was sort of traveling about in the different cities, and I got kind of a perspective on you know, what life is like from their perspective. And you know, I felt sort of a kinship with them because you know, back home we have our own issues with the African American community, and then the Native American community, the indigenous people in North America. It's almost as if you combine those two issues into one, which I found really, really both sad and fascinating at the same time. So,
meanwhile, you've worked with major stars like Mavis Staples and The Roots, and I just learned something actually yesterday. That's you singing on Guns Are Drawn from the Roots album, The Tipping Point. I love that song. I had no idea that was you. What did you learn from those experiences working with big stars like that?
You know, I think in a way you come to watch how those people do things, you know, and what kind of focus and energy they bring to work, whether it's in the studio or on stage. You just sort of see the routine, you know, the effort, and just the thought process of how you do this. A lot of the stuff it's not like, you know, doing math or being an accountant or something like that. There's not an exact process. There's an infinite number of ways to do things, but you know, learning from people who do it on that level, you know, you sort of learn how to approach the stage and move with confidence and work in the studio as well.
Lots of valuable lessons, it seems. Well, Son Little, you're going to play us out today, but before we get to that, let's take a quick look at some of the week's music news. The French Elvis has left the building. Gallic rock star Johnny Hallyday was honoured with a popular tribute after passing away last week at the age of 74. Hundreds of thousands of fans lined the streets of Paris to say a final farewell to the music legend as a procession made its way down the Champs-Élysées. A funeral service was held at the Madeleine Church. President Emmanuel Macron led the tributes while Halliday's band played sombre renditions of some of his biggest hits. And over the weekend, symphony orchestras in France gave Johnny Hallyday the classical treatment with lush versions of Tennessee and Toute la musique que j'aime. Next, Eminem gets political on his 9th studio album, Revival. It drops just weeks after the rapper caused a stir with his searing performance at the BET Hip Hop Awards, slamming US President Donald Trump with each blistering rhyme. The new album features a star-studded lineup from Alicia Keys and Ed Sheeran to Beyoncé. The former Destiny's Child diva delivers the hook on the first single, Walk on Water, while the latest track, Untouchable, shines a spotlight on police brutality and racial history in the United States. Let's listen to Walk on Water.
No matter what bars I come with, you're gonna heart griping. That's a hard fight getting to swallow. So I scrap these. This pressure increases like khakis. I feel the ice cracking because
I walk on water, but I ain't no Jesus.
Well, like Eminem, N.E.R.D also addresses the hot button issue of police brutality on their new album. The hip-hop collective, led by heavyweight producer Pharrell Williams, returns to the spotlight after a 7-year hiatus. No One Ever Really Dies has the trio teaming up with Kendrick Lamar, Ed Sheeran, MIA, Andre 3000 and Rihanna. The Bajan singer gives her rap chops a workout on the first single, Lemon, a track made for the dance floor. Check it out.
In the new LaFerrari, and the truck behind me got arms. Yeah, longer than LeBron. Just waiting from my thumb like the fawns. Woo, this beat tastes like lunch, but it's running from veneers and it's running from the fronts. But every day, hey, well, lemonade. I was afraid. Once a nigga graduate, would I be okay? So I prayed and I played. It's Rihanna, nigga. My constellation is space. gun chase, nigga.
Bath salt, biting speakers in the face.
N.E.R.D there with Lemon. Well, that's all we have time for today, Son Little. Thank you so much for being here today. Remember, his latest album, New Magic, is out now, and you can also catch him on tour here in France this week. Son Little, you're going to play us out today with an acoustic version of Mad About You. Catch up with past music shows on our website and stay in touch on social media. Keep it right here on France 24. Take it away.
Call me crazy when I see you, baby. Got a smile about you. There's some red wine about you. In the evening hazy, in a summer dress you slay me. One smile you got me, and ten pop acting sloppy, mad about you. Breaking my heart at the first sight, leaving me lost in the morning light. I'm mad about you. Breaking my heart at the first sight, leaving me lost. Breaking my heart at the first sight, leaving me lost in the moonlight. I'm mad about you. Breaking my heart at the first sight.